I'd like to welcome everyone to our first service of the year and wish everyone a Happy New Year. I'd like to thank all those who have made this service possible. Reverend Gibbs, our organist Howard Hayes, the flowers done by Kyoko Okura Gibbs, and the streaming of the services done by Alan Goto and possibly Kathy Kumagai. Okay, first we're going to start with, this is our Shotsuki Hoyo monthly memorial service. On the first Sunday of each month, we observe the monthly memorial service, Shotsuki Hoyo, in honor of those members of our Buddhist community who have passed away during the respective month in which this service is being held. Sensei will now read the names of those loved ones who passed away in the month of January, in whose memory this morning's service is being conducted. For those of you observing today's service, in recognition of family members or friends who have passed away, please come forward as Sensei reads the name of your departed loved one to offer incense in their honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Namo Yabutsu, Namo Nabutsu, Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Nabutsu, Namo Yabutsu, Namo Nabutsu.
I will read now the names of our friends who have passed in the month of January. First, Akita Hiraku, Alima Matsu, Baba Oka Mikio, Fukeda Shigeyoshi, Fukumoto Kiyosaku, Furumoto Ikuo, Furuichi Tomizo, Furuichi Yoshiko, Goto Hisayo, excuse me, Hashimura Frank, Hayashi Hirai, Hayashi Shizuko, Higashioka Hanae, Hino E, Hirakawa Hyakutaro, Hirata Harumi, Hirata Sakuji, Hata Michio, Ishida Kiyoshi, Ito Toshiko, Kaide Nisaburo, Kamon Ayako, Kawamoto Asayo, Kawamoto Hisako, Kawamoto Rikimatsu, Kawamoto Yasuyo, Kawasaki Natsuko, Kawashima Haru, Kazuaki Joe, Kikawa Roy, Kobayashi Kentaro, Konishi Genhichi, Kurashita Nao, Matsuba Ariyoshi, Nagata Toshio, Nagatani Ichiro, Naito Teru, Nishimoto Bunso, Nishimoto Masao, Nishimoto Mine, Nishimoto Shigeko, Nishimura Matsuyuki William, Ogawa Kunai, Ogura Sara, Oka Seiichi, Okada Sachiko, Okumoto Hinayo, Omori Daisuke, Omura Fumio, Omura Katsutoshi, Omura Katsutoshi, Omura Matsuhira, Omura Suematsu, Ochi Shige. Oshita Rikiji. Oshita Yukimatsu. Otani Kazuyoshi. Oyama Johnny. Oyama Masajiro. Saeda Seiichi. Sakahara Isamu. Sakiyabu Genichi. Sano Otomatsu. Sano Sarajiro. Shimizu Senjiro. Sugasawara Yo. Sugimoto Masa. Sugita Matsue. Taketa Iku. Teramae Yasunobu. Terasawa Ryo. Thomas Kimio. Tomimoto Shichio. Tokimori Yoshimatsu. Tomono Satsuko. Trexler Daniel. Tsuchimoto Kazuyoshi. Uchiyama Hichiro. Umeta Kiyoshi. Umeta Zenichi. Ueda Kyoto. Wakabayashi Yasujiro. Yamada Marjin Kazuko. Yamane Akira. Yamane Isuyo. Yamanaka Michiko. Yamanaka Noboru. Yamasaki Lin. Yamashita Tomejiro. Yamashita Roy Yoshio. Yano Shizue. Yashiki Sakaichi. Yoshida Yozo. Thank you very much. These are our friends, family, and temple members who we know have passed in the month of January. If you lost somebody in January and we don't have their name, please tell us. We'll put it on the list. There's no charge for this. Thank you very much. We will proceed with the sutra chanting portion of our service, which will be Sanbutsuge on page 33. Kathy can repeat that.
But
So you get it right.
let's see. If everyone could rise for a reflective reading, and then we will follow that with our sutra chanting. Your mind will always believe everything you tell it. Feed it faith, feed it truth, feed it with love. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated for the sutra chanting. It will be Sambutsuge on page 33 in your service book.
Namitabutsu, Namandabutsu, Namanabutsu, Namitabutsu, Namandabutsu, Namandabutsu, Namanabutsu, Namanabutsu. Busatsu Daimuryo Jukyo Sanbutsuge Kogengigi Ijin Mugoku Nyode Enmyo Muyo Tosha Ichigatmani Shuko Enyo Kaishten Onpe Yunyaku Jumoku Nyolai Yogen Chote Murin Shogaku Daion Koru Jipo Kaimon Shojin Tammai Chie 一徳無量修正慶有人体連年小仏崩壊愚人人の空言外体無明欲無生存読む人の死死人徳無量空君古代知恵人妙光明意祖神道大仙願が差仏最小法華道生じ未不下脱不正上位戒人精進妙税三昧知恵異常合成特仏不行志願一切空空一切大恩慶始有仏百千億万無量大小修行王者不要一切使徒小仏不尿愚道天正本逆異尿語者小仏世界無不影無臭節度光明師匠天使小国妙霊精進異人難量ヨガサブ国土第一欧州奇妙道場超絶国尿内音二無等々ガト愛民道達一切吉報来生新熱少女伊藤が国慶楽安穏古仏神妙霊が神書おつがんの日力小小欲吉報生存知恵無下上領子孫知が信行軽量心死食読中他行精進民主風景ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブがにしくどく平等性一切どうもない真法如あら国ナマンダブルマンダナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブルマンダナモアミラブツナマンダブツナモアミラブツ
Thank you very much, Sensei. Could the Sangha please rise for the Gatha? It will be Tsuki ga deta, and it is on page 164 in your service book.
It's okay, I have it.
Oh. We're going to do the three treasures right after. Yeah, it's the wrong order. Yeah. Sorry, didn't give you a warning. Here you go. Could everyone please remain standing, and Sensei will lead us in the three treasures. Page 10 in your service book.
How rare and wondrous it is to have been born into human life, and now I live it. How rare and wondrous it is to be able to listen to the Buddha Dharma, and now I am able to hear it. If I do not transcend the world of delusion in this life, when will I ever attain spiritual liberation? May I, along with the entire Sangha, with sincere heart and mind, rely on that which can be truly relied on in this life, the three treasures. I rely on
And the Buddha, may I, along with all sentient beings, awaken to the great path with my entire being and discover the highest aspiration, which is to become a Buddha. May, Dharma, may I, along with all sentient beings, deeply reflect on the meaning of the sutras and gain wisdom as deep and vast as the ocean. I rely on the Sangha. May I, along with all sentient beings, become one Sangha of life, able to move forward and live with a dynamic spirit that is hindered by nothing.
The unsurpassed, deep, and wondrous Dharma, even in millions of kalpas, is extremely difficult to encounter. But now I am able to experience and embrace it. May I come to understand and revere the true meaning of the Tathagata. Namo Buddhassa. Namo Buddhassa. Namo Buddhassa. Namo Buddhassa.
Thank you, Sensei. Will the Sangha be seated? We will, Sensei will now give us our Dharma message, and the theme today is the three treasures of truth.
Thank you, Captain. No, Namo Buddhassa. Namo Buddhassa. Namo Buddhassa. Well, again, good morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for attending this service. Thanks to all of you who are helping to produce this service, the crew. I know Kathy already thanks some people, but thanks to Kathy Mikuni for being chairperson, Howard Hayes for playing organ, Kyoko Gibbs for doing the flowers and the Naijin preparation and cleaning the hondo, Alan Goto for videography and tech support, and Kathy Kumagai also doing tech support from home, although she has like a broken wrist, so she's doing it one-handed. So thanks all of you for your hard work on this. Together we create a Buddhist service. I want to mention just we do these little songs and devotional readings, and they are very meaningful, actually, when you look at them. The three treasures we just read is what I'm going to go on to talk about. So that's the whole theme today, is the three treasures for the philosophical part of the message. And also, we sing Tsuki ga Detta. You may not know the background of that song. That song was written 500 years ago at Nikko for the first moon viewing ceremony in Japan. Moon viewing started as a Buddhist ritual in Japan. In China, it's just about drinking wine and writing poetry. But when it came to Japan, it was brought by the Buddhists, and it was brought as a reverence for the moon, because the moon isn't just a rock in the sky. It's a point at which we confront universal process. It's a point of awakening for us. It's the very point at which the Buddha awoke. The Buddha awoke at the moment he looked at the morning star, actually, and the moon in the sky there. He looked up to the moon and he noticed that morning star, Venus. Don't know if he knew it was Venus. But it's a meaningful song, Tsuki ga Detta. It's about confronting reality, encountering reality, and it's 500 years old. The Three Treasures was put together about 75 years ago as we have it. In its essence, it's always been, but the particular way that we read it now was put together by Reverend Suji about 75 years ago. But these are meaningful parts of the service. We don't just happen to stick in a song and a devotional reading. Our service today is dedicated to those whose names we read earlier, and there is some solemnity in honoring those who passed before us. I'm sorry for our loss of those people. The death of those we are close to and indebted to is a great burden for us, but losing them does add depth to our character. We become deeper. Now, some people, in truth, do just become depressed, but most of us actually do become deeper persons through this loss. We're all connected, and the death of any one of us affects all of us. The actor David Soul died yesterday. Starsky and Hutch, he was Hutch, right? Now, as you might imagine, I wasn't a huge fan, but my stepdaughter was a big fan. So as soon as I read in the news flash that David Soul, some actor I barely knew, died, but it reminds me of my stepdaughter. So it becomes very important, it becomes a very meaningful loss. That was someone that touched her, someone that embodied something for her. So I'm sorry for the loss of David Soul. I'm sorry for everybody who died yesterday. I'm sorry for everybody who ever died in the month of January. And please accept my condolences on all of your losses. It is sad to see people precede us into that great mystery of death. We are all connected. But the main topic for this morning will be the three treasures of the truth, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Now, a Buddha is any person, any sentient being who has awoken to what life truly is. Seems very simple, and it's also, I've said before, a Buddha is simply a person totally without prejudice. You drop every one of your prejudgments, you're a Buddha. Have you tried to do that? We can't do that. Normal people can't do that. Every prejudgment, light's good, dark is not as good. Every judgment we make about life. Being kind to people is good. Being mean to people is bad. I'm going to drop that prejudgment. I walk into life with that prejudgment. But a Buddha has let it all go and sees directly what's there. And from that, they develop. And from that, they develop a vast compassion and penetrating wisdom. They become completely free of the greed, anger, and foolishness that bother us. They again develop limitless wisdom, kindness, and compassion. A Buddha develops a broader sense of identity. Ultimately, a sense of identity that includes you and me. A Buddha is an expression. Buddhas are expressions of what is best in reality in human form. In human form, a Buddha expresses what is best in reality: goodness, kindness, wisdom, discernment, humor, lightness. Amida Buddha is the Buddha making the most inclusive effort to awaken in all deluded beings and all suffering beings, including us. The Buddha Amida includes us in the awoken personhood of Amida. Identity becomes broader with awakening. Besides such vast dimensions of what Amida Buddha is, the inclusion of all of us in this liberation, in this light, in this goodness, Amida Buddha is also your own most true and evolved self. We just sang Tsuki ga detta, which tells us the Buddha is like, the moon is like a mirror that shows us what we are, just like the Buddha. If you, gotta double check. Most of our Buddha statues, I have no memory anymore, being 74 years of age. Most of our statues have this mirror. Ours has a kind of it's not a glass mirror, but it is a reflective surface. And if you look deeply into the kohai, the halo of the Buddha at most of our temples, you'll see a mirror, you'll see your own self. This is a symbol. You look deeply into Amida Buddha, who is a symbol of reality itself, awakening, something vast, powerful, tremendous, and yet also your own true self. I would hope that this dimension of Buddhahood is what we all understand, that much of it, that it's our own true perfected self, our awoken self. We each have needs and aspirations which point beyond what we can accomplish in biological form in one life. In the course of one biological life, we will not fulfill all of our aspirations and meet all of our needs. And this is part of what the treasure of Buddhahood is about. The maturation of all positive potential, everything good within you coming forth. There's much more to be said about Amida Buddha, about Buddhahood, but I won't be able to say it all this morning. The second of the three treasures is the truth of the Dharma. Devotion to the Dharma is well expressed in the version of the three treasures we read. May I, along with all sentient beings, attain wisdom as deep and as vast as the ocean. That coming to this deep understanding, we let our own prejudices fall away. We can do that. We can do that. The Dharma is as deep as the ocean, and it will lead us into happy and fulfilled living. And the Dharma does not just mean a bunch of doctrines or teachings, philosophical details. They're all very good. Our tradition is self-correcting, and our ideas are valuable, but it isn't just the ideas. For instance, no soul, interdependence. The Buddha Dharma is not just a belief system in that there isn't a non-physical essence of oneself, or that the Buddha is truly awoken. The Buddha is Buddhahood comes through the Dharma, and the Dharma is a pointer towards experience. You always hear that analogy of Nagarjuna, actually, that the teachings are like a finger pointing at the moon. This guy wrote like 200,000 pages. If it's just a finger pointing at the moon, Nagarjuna, why do we need 200,000 pages of it? Because it is true that all the teachings just point to this life, but we miss what this life is. We need the teachings, we need the philosophical ideas, we need the imagery, we need the imagination to lift up what this life truly is. We don't see it fully, we don't appreciate it fully. It's more than we can imagine, this very life we live now. The Dharma helps us to understand that. But in a real sense, the more you learn the Dharma, the less knowledge you have. Because the more you see that every idea you have is imperfect. It's good, it's imperfect. There is gravity. Things do fall at 32 feet per second. What is it? We still don't know. Why is that? We're not so sure, There's gravity, it's real. Electromagnetism is real, you understand it? I used to understand one thing about electricity, that if you walk in the room and throw the switch up, the lights go on. Now it depends which door you walk through and who threw the switch last. I don't get it at all. There are these real forces that are beyond our thorough understanding. We try. The Dharma helps us. Science helps us. But life that we live, the very life we live now, goes beyond our intellectual understanding, our ability to verbally understand. Those verbal teachings of the Dharma help us, but what the true Dharma is our direct experience of life itself, our own life, what we're living right now. We can come to appreciate life in more subtle and delicate ways by studying the Buddha Dharma, the Buddhist teachings, and engaging in Buddhist practices. This can help us, but we can't sum it all up in so many words. The third of the three treasures of the truth, of course, is the Sangha, our community. The Sangha, the Buddhist community, intersects and commingles with all the various communities that we belong to. Many who participate in our tradition are of Japanese ethnicity. Some of us, some people who attend here are not Japanese. I'm not Japanese at all. Some of you heard my story. I was in a graduate class for a semester with a woman from China who, at the end of the class, Institute of Buddhist Studies, she was shocked to find out I'm not Japanese. She goes, "You're not Japanese?" I said, "No, why did you think I was Japanese?" She said, "Well, I didn't think anybody who wasn't Japanese could do this." So this is a perfect example of how our life is. I think you've got to be Japanese to do this, so I see this person as Japanese. It says right there, right? You just look at what's right in front of you. You can't see it. I can't either. She just did what we're all doing. She looked at her opinions instead of what was in front of her. It's very hard for a non-awoken person not to do that. The Dharma will lead us to be able to do that more often, but we all do that sometimes. Just see what we're expecting to see and not what's right there. Studying the Dharma can help. All of us are in various communities, but we're in this community, whether it's because we love Japanese culture or because we love Buddhism or because we're searching and we don't know, maybe this is it, maybe something else. This is one of those communities that we can join on purpose. Some communities we're thrust into, you know. I'm Irish American, and I was in a Catholic community in Fresno that was predominantly Italian American. So I was thrust into this wealthy Italian American community as a working class Irish American. It was pretty uncomfortable. I was thrust into that community. I kept asking my parents to send me to public school. I want to go to public school. They never did. My first public school was Fresno State College. So, you know, some communities you are thrust into against your will. Some communities you choose. I certainly hope you've all chosen to be here today, that this is a community worthy of being chosen. The Sangha is the community, ultimately, of all living beings. This is where we belong, in this Sangha. This is where we have always belonged. As our text tells us, realizing that we're part of a universal community, becoming units of true accord in a life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. I always love that line, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Selfishness is a kind of bondage. It is our selfishness which prevents us from living in true accord with one another. It is selfishness, the bondage of selfishness, that keeps us from fulfilling our deepest hopes and our deepest needs. Selfishness is a kind of bondage. It is our selfishness which obstructs us from living a life of harmony. The Buddha Dharma provides 84,000 gates by which we may escape bondage. Now that's the original metaphor, gates. It later become paths, which is a perfectly good model as well, 84,000 paths. But the truth is, we should admit to you that the original meaning of this was 84,000 Buddhist paths. There are 84,000 ways of being Buddhist. But as our tradition developed within the Mahayana, the 195 out of like 207 schools or something like that, almost all of us What we really mean is that everyone is part of our Sangha, and we're all going to go through this path. We're all going to get on that one path, but getting to there are these gates you got to open out. You got to find a gate in, or a path, as they say later. But as we developed, we came to say, no, there's 84,000 paths. The Buddhist path is one path, and then there's 83,000, how does that work? 999 other paths, which are also valid. In Mahayana Buddhism, we really mean by 84,000 valid paths, there are 84,000 ways of finding the truth. One of them are these 84,000 ways of being Buddhist. So there are other ways of finding the truth. But we got 84,000 of them that are just Buddhist, at least that many. Of the paths out of this bondage of selfishness, there is none easier than walking in the Nembutsu path, the particular stream of tradition we are in. Now, I have not this morning explained just how saying and thinking phrases like Namo Amida Butsu can lead to freedom, can nurture harmony and community. Come back next week and I'll explain that in detail. But for now, we will close by saying the Nembutsu, having reflected a bit on the three treasures, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, the awoken consciousness we hope to be part of one day, the awoken personhood we too will be part of, the Dharma, the truths that point towards this one life we all share, and the Sangha, every living being, but starting with those who wake up. This is what we've talked of today on our Shotsuki Hoyo service for January. I'm sorry for those of you who lost someone this month. This is the only month of the year that I haven't had a family member die, so I'm sorry for your losses. Please join me in Gasho as you please saying the Buddha's name a few times together. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei, for a wonderful message, which makes very meaningful, what the three treasures have, how we can learn from the three treasures in our lives. So could the Sangha please rise, and we'll have our final little meditation. It's very short. Remember one thing, that you should not leave this earth until you have made it a little more beautiful, a little more lovelier, a little more loving. By Osho, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated. Are there any announcements? I'm sure we have announcements. No? I am shocked. Sensei, do we have announcements? There'll be no study group on Tuesday.
Tuesday, it can't meet Tuesday at 11, but we'll be back the rest of Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
And your Tai Chi group?
1 o'clock Tuesday and Thursday, and Tuesday evening, 6 o'clock for meditation, sutra chanting, and Nembutsu, and 7 o'clock for Buddhist study class.
Right.
And we'll be back here next Sunday for the Hoyo service.
Right. So,
Memorial service for our denominational founders.
yeah. So please come for a honko. If there are no other announcements, then please, again, Happy New Year. Keep warm, keep safe, and, have a nice trip home and enjoy your family and friends for the new year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. Great day to enjoy the beautiful outdoors from inside. Go to your biggest window.
Right. And for those and for those who are interested in football, that's great. And Monday, of course, is the college football game. So this is a fun time for all college football fans. But again, thank you very much for coming to this Shotsuki Hoyo service for January.
Thank you very much. And refreshing incense if you don't have a chance to show Hoyo.
Oh, right. Please, if you haven't had a chance to do Oshoko, please come up and offer incense.